I saw myself as someone when I was 18 who wanted to go to college and be a composer. And I knew I was going to do that. And I was pretty sure that I would, get a job at a university and teach composition. And that's not really what's happened, but it's also not what's not happened, right? It's also, it's part of who I've become along the way. Conductors by nature are ones who hope to control the way things happen, including one's career trajectory, right? As a conductor, or as a composer maybe even too, you'll say, this is where I see my career going. But really, it never works out exactly as you hope it will. And I mean that in the best possible way, because there are always surprises and changes along the way that make the journey richer. And so I always knew I wanted to be working in music. I always knew I wanted to teach. I always knew I never wanted to just conduct or just compose. And I told myself early on, despite many pressures, that I would never sacrifice one of those for the other. I would do my best to do both of them equally throughout my career, because both of them are intrinsic to my identity and who I want to be as an artist.
My name is Gabrielle Gaudreau. I know Dr. DiOrio from, this is my third year as a choral conducting student, and so he's been my mentor and teacher in classroom and private settings. When I got here, I started singing in Notice, the contemporary vocal ensemble, with him in my first semester, and that was really cool because it was obvious to me that he was doing something very different from a lot of what choral conductors are doing. And he had all of this passion and excitement about all of this new music that we were doing, and it was really contagious. And now I feel the same way, and I'm really into contemporary music, and I'm so happy to sing in that choir.
So Notice, the contemporary vocal ensemble that I direct, I'm not the first director. It's been a fixture of this school for maybe 35 years, but I realized when I came here that no one really knew much about it outside of the walls of IU. So I made it my mission to go and rebrand the ensemble and to make its focus external. Right? What are we doing? How can we share with those outside of IU? And I'm extraordinarily pleased to see what's happened in the last 3 or 4 years, because now we have a following on social media. We have people who come to IU saying, wow, I want to sing in this choir. So on many of the concerts we've done here, I've invited collaborative artists, faculty members, other students from other departments who maybe wouldn't necessarily usually perform in a new music choir concert. And then I make sure that what I do is communicated to the people around us in such a way that they feel like they can get behind it and support it. And I feel like that brings everyone together, and it makes the work we do not just in this little silo of choral activity. Why would I come to a chamber choir concert? Well, you would come because we're making some of the best music being made. It's really hard to be a young musician right now, whether that's a performer or a composer, because you're right, the landscape is changing, has changed, is different, right? There's not, and I don't know if there really ever was one path, but certainly institutions used to teach, this is the path to get an orchestra job. Right? These are the excerpts you learn, these are the things, the auditions you take, and eventually if you're good enough, you'll get this job, and you'll have a full-time job, and you can sit back for 35 years and play in the viola section of, the Cleveland Orchestra. I don't think that's really the path anymore, especially not with the number of students that we have who are graduating into this profession. You need to be able to write. I can't really emphasize this enough. You need to be able, or pay someone to write for you, I suppose, but you need to be able to know how to write a bio, program notes, grants. Being able to communicate written, in written form is so valuable. And then being able to communicate as a normal human being with other people who are also doing what you're doing is totally important. If you're not relatable, if you're not someone that people feel like they can spend time or enjoy collaborating and performing with, then you also probably won't be as successful. So there's something to be said about being able to join forces with other musicians doing the same thing, and then finding ways together of making, charting a path for yourself. Really, it comes down to two things. It's what you do, and you have to be really good at it, and it's who you know. And hopefully you know a lot of people who are just as good at their things as you are at your thing.